She has a master's in business. You're just an engineer. Diane Coleman didn't even look up when she said it. Her eyes stayed on the printed document, pen hovering over a checklist like my entire career was just another box to tick before lunch. My name is Wayne Hoffman. I'm 48 years old. I've been keeping Cyberflow Industries running for 15 years, and I was about to find out exactly what they thought I was worth. We were sitting in conference room B, the one with no windows that smelled like burnt coffee. Gray walls, motivational poster about teamwork, box of tissues on the side table. Diana had called me in at 9:30 a.m. with a calendar invite that just said compensation review confidential. Nothing good ever came from meetings with that word in the title. Diane slid the paper across the table. Her nails were perfect, the kind you notice when someone won't look at you. "This is your adjusted compensation for the new fiscal year," she said in that flat HR voice. "You'll see your merit increase here." I looked down. Senior infrastructure engineer. 15 years, annual merit increase, 2.8%. Below that in smaller print, compensation aligned with internal equity guidelines. Corporate speak for, "We've decided what you're worth and arguing won't change it." 2.8%, I said, correct. That's within the standard band for technical contributors. I set the paper down. The server room was 2 floors below us. I could feel the building's rhythm. Steady hum, all systems normal. For now, what about Ashley Campbell? Diane's pen stopped moving. She forced a smile. "I'm not sure what you mean, Ashley Campbell." "The new operations director. Started 5 months ago. No technical background. I saw her offer letter." The smile got tight. "I can't discuss another employee's compensation. She's making double my salary, isn't she?" Diane put her pen down carefully. "Ashley has different qualifications." "Like what?" "She has a master's in business from a top program. She brings strategic oversight." Diane sat up straighter, like the degree itself proved her point. I waited. "The building's air system cycled. You're just an engineer. Different roles need different market positioning, just an engineer." The words hung there. "Just an engineer," I repeated slowly. "The just an engineer who built the failover system that kept us online when AWS went down last year. The just an engineer who caught the payment vulnerability before it cost us millions." Diane's jaw got tight. "Wayne, I understand you're frustrated. I'm not frustrated. I'm clarifying. You're telling me someone with an MBA and 0 experience is worth twice what I am. I want to make sure I heard that right." She folded her hands. "Professional, cold, unmoved. We benchmark against market data. Leadership roles command higher salaries. Education matters. Credentials matter. More than keeping the systems running, apparently. Know your place," she said. "Know your place." There it was, not dressed up anymore. I looked at her, at the checklist, at the paper with my name, and a number that said what 15 years of my life was worth to Cyberflow. I reached into my bag. Diane tensed like I might pull out a lawyer's card. Instead, I took out a folded piece of paper and put it on top of her document. Clean white paper, already signed. My resignation letter. Effective immediately, her face went pale as she read it. "Wayne," she started, "I sent a copy to your inbox at 9:47 a.m. You'll see it when you check, along with copies to my manager and Richard Garrett." She blinked at the signature, at the date, at words that couldn't be taken back. "You don't have to do this right now. This is a big step. Talk to your manager, sleep on it. We can revisit the numbers. I've been sleeping on it for 15 years. This is me waking up." I stood up. "You told me to know my place. So I do, and it's not here." I picked up my bag and walked out, leaving the resignation letter on the table. By 9:50 a.m., my badge was flagged. By 9:55 a.m., my system access was cut across 12 production environments. By 10:03 a.m., I'd cleared my desk and walked past 3 engineers who suddenly found their screens interesting. By 10:12 a.m., I was in my car filling out paperwork for the new job I'd already accepted at SecureNet Technologies. At 10:33 a.m., exactly 46 minutes after I'd signed that letter, my phone started buzzing with calls from numbers I didn't recognize. But let me back up and tell you how one sentence in an HR meeting turned into the most expensive 46 minutes in Cyberflow history. I joined Cyberflow 15 years ago when they were mid-size payment processing trying to compete with the big players. The infrastructure was held together with duct tape and prayers. We had one data center in Virginia, a backup site in Oregon that had never been tested, and monitoring that could tell you something broke, but not what. My interview was with George Dalton, the CTO who'd built his way up through the ranks. "Can you keep this place from falling apart?" he asked, pointing at a whiteboard covered in diagrams that looked like a disaster. "Depends. Can I change things? If you can prove they need changing, then yes." He hired me on the spot. I spent the first 5 years rebuilding everything. Real monitoring that showed trends, not just status lights. Proper backup systems we actually tested. Documentation that didn't say restart and pray. By year 7, I was the guy people called at 2 a.m. when things broke. Not because I was on call, because I was the only one who'd seen these problems before and knew how to fix them. I became the institutional memory nobody wanted to admit they depended on. That was fine for a while. The company grew. Revenue went up, executives got bonuses. I got a 3% raise and a coffee mug that said keeping the lights on. I didn't complain. I believed that eventually competence would be recognized. That was my first mistake. The shift started when Cyberflow decided they needed to professionalize. That was the word the new CEO used, Richard Garrett, former investment banker brought in by the board to scale the business. Richard loved words like synergy and optimization. He didn't love words like technical debt, or that's going to break if we don't fix it first. Within 6 months, hiring changed. Less emphasis on people who knew how things worked. More emphasis on people who knew how things should look on slides. We got directors with MBAs who'd never written code, VPs who could talk about operational excellence but couldn't explain what a load balancer did. Consultants billing $400 an hour to tell us we should cloudify our infrastructure strategy. That's how we got Ashley Campbell. MBA from a top 10 business school, 3 years at a consulting firm, 0 technical background. Her title, Director of Strategic Operations. Her job, align cross-functional initiatives with business objectives. Translation, sit in meetings, sound confident, make sure decisions looked good in quarterly reviews. Ashley was good at that part. She knew how to talk, how to frame things, how to make moving a database sound like a transformational digital initiative. What she didn't know, and didn't care to learn, was how anything actually worked. That became a problem fast. Ashley started inserting herself into technical decisions, not because she understood them, but because she decided operations meant she should have visibility into everything. She'd show up to architecture reviews with questions like, can we just containerize this? Or why don't we migrate everything to the cloud? Questions that sound smart to people who don't know better and make engineers want to put their heads through walls. At first, I tried being diplomatic. That's an interesting idea, but here's why it won't work in our environment. She'd smile, nod, then rephrase the same idea in the next meeting like I hadn't said anything. Eventually, I stopped explaining. I started documenting her suggestions in meeting notes along with the reasons they'd fail. That way, when they did fail, there was a record. I didn't do it to be vindictive. I did it to protect the engineers who'd have to clean up the mess. Ashley didn't like being documented. She started routing around me. She'd go directly to junior engineers and ask them to just try something quick. She'd promise them visibility, career growth, FaceTime with executives. Some of them, desperate to get noticed, would say yes. That's how we ended up with a production deployment on a Friday afternoon that took down our primary API for 40 minutes. Because someone had implemented a quick optimization Ashley suggested without understanding what it actually did. I fixed it. I wrote the postmortem. I added another entry to my notebook. New failure mode, decisions made by people who don't understand consequences. Nobody read the postmortem except the engineers. Ashley got promoted 6 months later. I found out about the pay disparity by accident. One of the junior engineers, Paul Martinez, had been sloppy with file permissions. He'd uploaded Ashley's offer letter to a shared folder instead of his personal drive. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for a document Paul had promised about a database migration. I clicked the wrong file, and there it was. Director of Strategic Operations, Ashley Campbell, base salary, $178,000, signing bonus, $20,000 annual bonus target, 25%. I stared at it. Then I opened my last pay stub, base salary, $89,500. No signing bonus. Annual bonus target, 8%, which I'd gotten exactly twice in 15 years, 5 months at the company. 0 technical background, 0 systems saved from disaster, making exactly double what I made. I didn't get angry. I got clear. That evening, I updated my resume for the first time in 15 years. I reached out to recruiters I'd ignored for years. Within 2 weeks, I had offers from companies that actually valued infrastructure expertise. Within 3 weeks, I'd accepted one principal engineer at SecureNet Technologies, $165,000 base plus equity, reporting to a CTO who'd built her career on actual technical work. All I needed was the right moment to leave. Diane Coleman gave it to me. The compensation review meeting was exactly what I'd expected. Another insulting raise and the expectation that I'd be grateful. When she slid that paper across the table and I saw 2.8% merit increase, I wasn't surprised. Just tired. Tired of being undervalued, tired of watching people with better credentials and worse judgment get paid more for doing less. So when she said she has a master's in business, you're just an engineer. Know your place, that was it. Not because it was the worst thing anyone had said to me, but because it was the truth they'd been dancing around for 15 years, finally said out loud. I pulled out my resignation letter and put it on the table. I'd written it the night before, printed it, signed it, just in case. Good luck replacing me, I said. Then I walked out. Cyberflow was about to learn an expensive lesson about the difference between credentials and competence. The first thing that happened after I left was nothing. For exactly 21 minutes, everything ran normally. The payment processing systems hummed along. Transactions flowed. Money moved from account to account like it had for years. At 10:33 a.m., that changed. The payment processing service started throwing errors. Not total failure, just elevated error rates that triggered the first-level alerts. Paul Martinez saw them and checked the runbook. The runbook said if payment processor shows elevated errors, check queue depth and service health. He did. Everything looked normal. Here's what Paul didn't know, what nobody knew except me. If the payment processor starts showing slow timeouts to the settlement service and queue depth looks normal, you need to check the connection pool settings on the back-end database. It doesn't auto-scale, and when the pool exhausts, it fails silently. I discovered that vulnerability 3 years ago during a similar incident. I'd fixed it, documented it in my personal notes, and added a monitoring alert that would catch it early. An alert that was firing right now, but nobody was reading the description. They were just seeing elevated errors and assuming it was something else. Paul escalated to the senior engineer on duty. That was supposed to be me, but I was sitting in my car filling out tax forms for my new employer. The backup senior engineer was sick, so it fell to Sarah Kim, a mid-level engineer who knew the systems but had never seen this particular failure mode. Sarah did what she'd seen me do dozens of times. She opened 5 terminal windows, started tailing logs, looked for patterns. She saw something weird. The payment processor was getting requests. It was trying to connect to the settlement service, but connections were timing out. Not immediately, just slowly. Slow enough that retry logic was kicking in, generating more requests, making the problem worse. Sarah recognized the pattern, but she didn't know why it was happening. The part she was missing sat in my notebook, written 18 months earlier. If payment processor shows slow timeouts to settlement and queue depth normal, check connection pool on settlement DB2, pool exhausts silently. Nobody else knew that. I'd fixed it quietly, documented it in my notes, and moved on. The monitoring alert I'd added was firing, but the description just said, settlement connection pool warning. Without context, it looked like a minor issue. By 10:45, the error rate had tripled. By 10:50, payment processing was completely down. 800 businesses couldn't process transactions. The largest client, a payment processor that did $12 million in annual business with Cyberflow, sent an email with the subject line, service interruption, immediate escalation required. That's when Ashley Campbell walked into the operations center. Why is the dashboard red, she asked. We're investigating, Sarah said. Investigating doesn't generate revenue. Can't you just restart it? Sarah hesitated. We need to figure out what's wrong first. How long will that take? I don't know. Ashley pulled out her phone. I'm calling Richard. CEO Richard Garrett showed up 10 minutes later. He looked at the dashboard, at the error graphs climbing, at engineers who were clearly struggling. Where's Wayne? He asked. He resigned this morning, Ashley said. Over a compensation issue, Richard's face went white. You let him walk today? I didn't let him do anything, Ashley said defensively. He made a choice. A choice you forced, Richard snapped. Then he left to come to my apartment, which is when I closed the door in his face. While Richard was driving to my house, the situation got worse. By 1100, clients were calling every few minutes. The stock price started dropping. By 11:30, 3 major clients had sent formal breach notices. Sarah and Paul were doing their best, but they were swimming in deep water. They restarted the settlement service, which cleared the connection pool temporarily. Payment processing came back online for about 20 minutes. Then it crashed again, harder this time because the restart had flushed a bunch of queued transactions all at once, and the downstream systems couldn't handle the spike. Now they had 2 problems instead of 1. We need to call Wayne, Paul said. He's not going to answer, Sarah replied. Would you? We need to try something. Ashley overheard this. Absolutely not. We don't negotiate with employees who quit without notice. We'll figure this out ourselves. With what? Sarah asked. Wayne built this system. He's the only one who knows how all the pieces fit together. Then we'll bring in consultants, Ashley said. By 12:30, they'd contacted 3 different consulting firms. The first 2 said they didn't have anyone available on short notice for a crisis of this magnitude. The third quoted $15,000 per day plus expenses, minimum 5-day engagement, and said their earliest available consultant could be on site tomorrow morning. Tomorrow? Richard said when Ashley told him we'll be out of business by tomorrow. Meanwhile, I was having lunch at a nice restaurant near my new office, going over onboarding schedules with Dr. Monica Webb, SecureNet CTO. When can you start? She asked. I was thinking Monday, but I could start tomorrow if you need me. Monday's fine. Take the weekend to decompress from whatever happened at your last place. If only she knew. My phone buzzed with another call from Cyberflow. I sent it to voicemail, then another, then a text from Paul. Wayne, please. We're drowning here. I showed the text to Monica. My old company having some technical difficulties. She raised an eyebrow. Related to your departure? Possibly. How bad? Their entire payment processing is down. Has been for 2 hours. Monica whistled. That's expensive. Very. Are you planning to help them? I thought about it. No. They made it clear this morning they don't value what I do. Now they get to learn what it's worth. Back at Cyberflow, the crisis was escalating. By 1 p.m., the company had lost $8 million in transaction fees. By 2 p.m., regulatory authorities were asking questions. By 3 p.m., local news had picked up the story. Richard called an emergency board meeting. The board members were not happy. How does one engineer quitting take down our entire operation? The board chair asked. He wasn't just any engineer, Richard said. He was the senior infrastructure engineer. 15 years with the company, built most of our core systems, and we just let him walk. Richard looked uncomfortable. There was a compensation dispute. How much of a dispute? He was making $89,500. He found out our new operations director was making $178,000. Silence. The operations director with an MBA and 5 months of experience? Yes. And instead of addressing the inequity, we told him to know his place. Richard winced. Something like that. The board chair rubbed her forehead. Do we have any way to reach him? He's not answering calls. What about his home address? I tried. He closed the door in my face. Literally. More silence. Then the board chair sighed. How much is this outage costing us? Last estimate was $12 million and climbing, plus regulatory fines, plus reputation damage, all because we wouldn't pay a senior engineer what he was worth. That's accurate. The board chair stood up. Fix this, whatever it takes, and fire whoever made the decision to lowball him in the first place. Back in the operations center, things were getting desperate. The external consultant had finally arrived, a guy named Brad who charged $2,000 a day and spent the first 2 hours asking questions about systems he'd never seen before. So this settlement service connects to what database? Brad asked, squinting at a diagram Paul had drawn. The main transaction DB and the reconciliation DB. Paul said, and the connection pooling is configured how? We don't know. Wayne set it up. Brad looked around the room. Where is Wayne? He quit this morning, Sarah said. Today? He quit today, and you're having this crisis? Yeah. Brad shook his head. You need to get him back here. I can't reverse engineer 15 years of infrastructure knowledge in an afternoon. He won't come, Ashley said. We already tried. Have you tried offering him what he's actually worth? Ashley didn't answer that. By 4 p.m., the outage had been running for 5.5 hours. The consultant had managed to identify the connection pool issue but couldn't figure out the safe way to fix it without causing more problems. Every solution he suggested, Paul or Sarah would point out why it might make things worse. We need the original architect, Brad finally said. This is too complex to fix blind. That's when Richard made a decision that probably saved the company. He drove to SecureNet Technologies and waited in the parking lot for me to come out. I saw him sitting in his BMW when I walked to my car at 5:30. He got out and approached me carefully, like he was approaching a dangerous animal. Wayne, Richard, I know you don't want to see me. I know we screwed up. But I need 2 hours of your time? No, name your price. It's not about money. Then what's it about? I looked at him, really looked. His expensive suit was wrinkled. His hair was messed up. His face looked like he'd aged 5 years in one day. It's about respect, I said. Which your company made clear this morning it doesn't have for me. We were wrong. Yes, you were. If I fix the compensation issue, if I make this right, will you help us? I thought about it, about my daughter Emma's tuition bills, about the engineers who were probably still in that conference room trying to solve problems they didn't create. I'll think about it, I said. That night, Cyberflow's board held an emergency session. They fired Diane Coleman. They put Ashley Campbell on administrative leave pending review. They authorized Richard to offer me whatever it took to come back. The outage finally ended at 11:47 p.m., 13 hours and 14 minutes after it started. Not because anyone figured it out, but because one of the junior engineers, Paul Martinez, finally found an old Confluence page I'd written 2 years ago, titled Payment Processor Failure Modes, Emergency Recovery. It had everything: the connection pool issue, the retry storm problem, the exact steps to recover without causing secondary failures. Paul followed the instructions step by step. It worked. Systems came back online, clients stopped screaming, the crisis was over, final damage. 28 million in lost revenue, $4.2 million in regulatory fines. 3 major clients terminated their contracts, and a stock price that dropped 12%. The next morning, Richard called me. "The system's back up," he said. "I heard we found your documentation. Thank you for leaving it. I always document things." That's what good engineers do. We know, we want you back. At what salary? $165,000 base, $40,000 signing bonus, 20% annual bonus target. Principal engineer title report directly to me. I was quiet for a moment. It was almost exactly what SecureNet had offered me. "I appreciate the offer," I said finally. "But I already started somewhere else. We'll match whatever they're paying. We'll beat it." It's not about the money, Richard. It's about working somewhere that values what I do before they're forced to. I understand. But if you ever change your mind, I'll keep that in mind. 3 months later, Cyberflow reached out again. This time through a recruiter, they wanted to bring me back as a consultant. Not full-time, just quarterly reviews and knowledge transfer. The rate $450 per hour, I said yes. Not because they deserved my help, but because I'd learned something important. The best response to being undervalued isn't anger. It's success. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you get to charge the people who undervalued you 4 times your old hourly rate to fix the problems they created. Today, I'm still at SecureNet Technologies, distinguished engineer. Emma's tuition is covered without me losing sleep. My team respects what I do because the leadership does. Sometimes people ask if I regret how I handled things at Cyberflow. If I should have been more diplomatic, given them a chance to fix things before walking out, I tell them this. When someone shows you exactly how much they value you, believe them. You can stay and hope things change, or you can leave and let reality teach them what you were actually worth. I chose reality, and 46 minutes later, so did they. Here's what I want you to understand about workplace respect. It's not something you can negotiate for after the fact. Either they value what you bring, or they don't. And if they don't, no amount of explaining will change their mind. Only consequences will. Sometimes the best thing you can do is stop preventing those consequences and let them learn the hard way. Because the person who tells you to know your place is the same person who's about to find out what your place was really worth to begin with.